Okay, it's 8:34. I call the Carroll County Commissioners meeting to order. We're a little bit late this morning. We had a breakfast over at the nursing home. And if we had known that ahead of time, we would have put the meeting off until 9 o'clock. But anyway, we rushed through it and we're here. So the first item on the agenda is public input. Anybody have any public input? Seeing none. Mike Dugan is supposed to be here from Time Warner. Jason Johnson, Ann Eaton. Howard Chandler work session and so forth. We will not have a non-public session at 11 o'clock. Got word this morning that the attorney that's doing the negotiating cannot make the phone call to us today to tell us how the other two, how union contracts are going. So, said something about tomorrow. Well, they'd have to call us at home because we're not here tomorrow. Okay, has anybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Actually, no.
I have not.
I didn't get the minutes. I didn't read it. I just got them on my desk this morning.
Since we got a
They
few.
were on our computer about 4 days ago.
Oh, really?
Actually, they always are.
Since
What?
we,
They always are.
since we have a few minutes, let's read the minutes and
Okay.
approve them. Oh, this is double. This is
So
delegation
this
minutes.
is, let me see. What is this?
Oh.
You know, on the first page,
Okay.
there was a correction they say from minutes. I don't recall that we make any corrections in minutes last week.
I don't think you were there for this consideration. I think it was done before you even entered the room.
You may have come in after it was approved.
We had the minutes done before the commissioner got here.
Yeah.
Oh. So there is the corrections of minutes.
David, excuse me, would you make sure as the people come in today, if Ann Eaton and Howie, and I guess that would be it, that they got their number phone lines? so-
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's on your list. And I missed the second on page 7.
I've got the,
Oh, okay.
Did you get the typo on page 2? Fourth paragraph up, wood.
Oh, right, for that. Thank you.
I think I made the seconded on page 7. Wow. They keep going and going.
Gee,
Sorry
this
about
is,
that.
this is,
I
minutes
don't,
are getting longer each week.
I don't know the name of the Bolio company, the actual name of it. I have to put, I left a blank in that next motion, so that I
Yeah.
could put in the,
I don't know either.
I think that is the name.
We'll have to fill that in after we look at the
well, it's like
contract.
HR Bolio and Company,
That
Inc. or
happens,
something
yeah.
like that. I don't know what their name is, but it's not just Bolio, it's,
Well, we probably need to look at the agreement, so we
got
probably
this one?
have the, we probably have the
It's
agreement
increased
downstairs.
by,
At page 10, all the way on the top, I think that Mrs. Siemens made a comment. He said Commissioner Sorensen said no RSA or county policy prohibited access by other commissioners. I believe that she said something at public comment.
Yes, in answer to Ms. Seaman's follow-up question.
Do you know of an RSA?
No, she said something that she didn't see something. That
Right.
was, I think, her statements.
Right, in answer to Ms. Seaman's follow-up question, Commissioner Kenney said that no, Commissioner Sorensen said that no RSA or county policy prohibited access.
Is that what you said? Is this your statement? I thought it was Siemens' statement.
No,
Well,
that was
she asked the
mine.
question and he answered it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear his answer then.
Added question, I had the county legal settlement document.
So did you say that Primex does not cover GNO? Did you say that?
Where are you?
Page 10, all the way. Here you said
Okay.
Primex does not cover GNO. I don't know if you say that, I mean, that's your statement.
Okay, corrections. Has everybody had a chance to read it?
Yeah, I just read it.
You got any corrections?
I don't know if this was your statement, if you can check it, page 10. You said something about Primex. Primex does not cover, what is that? Or maybe you should spell it out. Primex does not cover DNO.
What's a DNO?
Yeah, what is that?
I always thought it was E&O, but Representative Umberger corrected me. E&O is errors and omissions. I don't know what D&O is.
Did you make this statement?
I didn't make it.
DNO?
No, Commissioner Babson, did you make it?
Oh,
Well, there was a general discussion going on. People were suggesting
Does
one
not
source.
cover DNO.
um,
I don't know. That is his statement, but,
I think it's supposed to be E&O, errors and
That's what I
omissions.
thought, but Representative Umberger corrected it on the delegation minutes. She thinks it's D&O. I've never heard of D&O. I thought it was E&O as well.
I know, maybe you meant, I don't know what you said, but maybe you meant 91As, because that is what they don't cover. Right to know.
Yeah.
That would cover
Why
it.
why don't we take the DNO out
Okay.
and put the correction in as Asha?
Mr. Chairman, above that.
91A.
91A.
Just put 91A, maybe.
Or
he
other
said.
behavior
I don't-
issues.
I don't know what he said.
What's that now?
Then the paragraph above, if you recall, Melissa asked what else
Benefits?
what other benefits the commission has got, and I said tongue-in-cheek, the opportunity to pay for their own legal fees, that really doesn't need to be in the,
Okay.
So where's that?
that was,
So are you on the
No.
same page? Are you on page 10?
That same line, he wants this taken out here, that line.
Commission perhaps added commissioners pay also their own legal fees. Oh,
Okay.
that's out? But that's the statement you made or not? So that line goes just out and we just have Primex does not cover 91A or
Yeah.
behavior issues. You said something like that.
Yep.
Page 8, the tuition may be as much as 55,000. The letter we got said it would be 55,000.
So will be 55,000?
Yeah,
Tuition may be as much as.
and the only other one I have is, I understood,
Where are you?
I'm looking for it. It's about the top, oh, here it is, page 4.
Yep.
3 up from the bottom, 3 paragraphs up from the bottom. Mr. Chandler was pleased to report. I thought he said we were in the top 20 public, rated in the top 20 public. Or did he say the top 20%? I think we ought
The
to pull
top
our
20,
own.
the top 20 homes, of which 6 were county homes and 14 were private.
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought.
maybe I didn't read the whole thing far enough.
I thought that he said 20 county nursing home in the state of New Hampshire, or not?
Well, there were 20 chosen from New Hampshire.
Yes.
And 6 of them were county homes and 14
Okay,
private.
that's what I wanted. I didn't read the whole sentence.
That's what I understood him to
Yeah,
say.
that's what he said.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes of March 5th as corrected.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in support of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, so voted. We've made some comments on the minutes. Regarding the desks downstairs, you said something in passing about somebody complaining about them?
Yeah, I thought I'd get that down for the work session.
You got it down for work session? Okay.
That's also on your list.
We need to reconsider a revised budget of Hale's location.
Oh, I didn't bring mine up. I
No.
got 2 revisions. Is that the first or the second?
City fine?
This is the final revision, I think.
So why did we have a revision? What happened? Because
I don't
last
know.
week we had a different one, so what did they change?
Last week it was 338, and this year, and this
It-
week it's what?
It was
341?
341,
So it
yeah.
went up,
So why did you change it?
$3,000.
But for what?
I don't know where it is. Maybe under tuition.
I think we need to have the, do you have the one from last week?
I don't have it with me. Do you have it with you by any chance?
No, it's downstairs on my desk.
So what, I don't know
Oh,
what.
last week's? I may
Yeah.
have, but-
Yeah,
Yeah, I got last week's. What do you wanna know?
I don't know.
let's see if I have-
Can you tell us where the changes are?
because they
Where the
changed.
3,000 is?
The 3,000 is in education and tuition.
Okay. Okay, just to follow up a little bit on the minutes, the guy was here to fix the safe. The combination is sitting on your desk, on both of your desks.
Oh, is it working now?
Supposedly,
Supposedly. Is it working or not?
when the guy left, he said it was working.
It was working? Oh, okay, good.
And if it wasn't, call him back.
Commissioner Sorensen, do
So
you
we
have this
have-
list?
What's that?
Do you have this list?
Yep, I do.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I do.
So the school tuition, that was the revised budget of Hale's Station?
Yeah. Okay. Any reports to be given?
Well, yes.
Did you attend the sheriff's subcommittee
no.
meeting yesterday?
No, I didn't. They planned it first for 1 o'clock and later they planned it to 10, so I could not attend it.
Okay. Commissioner Babson, you attended that?
Yes, they did. And they're pretty close to coming up with a budget, finalizing the budget. They had a few questions. They got around the problems with the blue lights on the transport cars for the jail. There was a long discussion about taking vehicles home by the deputies. And the meeting lasted about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Oh, there was some question, there was great angst about the dog. 2 dogs, 2 trainers, whether the dog was needed. And I guess decided that it was.
My understanding on the dogs is that they were a grant, and
Yes.
that there's a company that is supplying the food for them. And then there's a vet that's providing either a reduced rate or no cost.
Dr. Seibel has been generously donating a good portion of his, I don't know whether it's his profit or his working capital or whatever it is, but he's been very generous to the county, taking care of Edge that we have now, and I guess he will continue on the new dog.
Okay.
What we didn't know is that all government grants, there's strings attached. We have to pay the handler, I think it's a half an hour a day to care for the animal at home,
And that's required by who?
by the federal government in the grant.
Is the dog a federal grant? Or is it from that association of?
It's from the association, but I understood Dominic to say that, well, I know he said it, that the federal government requires you to pay that person, the handler, a half an hour a day to take care of the animal. You and I also attended the nursing home.
Yes.
I was late, you weren't. I think they that group does an excellent job in there, and their work to attempt to figure out a budget.
What Representative Algren was trying to do, is in regards to the union contracts. The problem with the union contracts is that they should be in by the 1st of December to go into the commissioner's budget, which is sent to Concord. When I was negotiating, that's what happened. Something happened, and they're still negotiating with the jail and the nursing home. But his point was that should they approve the 40 cents an hour for non-union workers, that any union contracts that were approved would come out of the balance of the nursing home budget at the end of the year. I don't know how that can physically be done, because we don't know what the balance is going to be,
Or if there will be one.
or if there will be one. This year, there was $400,000 in the balance of a $12 million budget. Total countywide, it was almost $1 million balance, but 300 of that was revenue that we didn't expect to have. So basically, out of a $28 million budget, we had $700,000 as a balance. So I don't know how that's a subcommittee, and that'd be recommended to the full board on Monday. They talked about the old nursing home I think we're all in agreement, I don't know why it keeps coming up, that we are gonna take down the two wings and board up that one side and put a roof over the structure. As to when we do that, I guess, is the question. I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think we ought to do it this summer. At least do that portion, and if we have to come back, we come back. Just to get rid of that, get a roof on it, and get that, those two wings taken off. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but.
Well, part of the discussion over there was also, the serious thought ought to be given to hooking up the laundry,
Yes,
the hot water to the pellet system.
yes.
It's ridiculous that we've got this heater 30 feet away and we're purchasing propane to heat the hot water.
I think at the time, it wasn't,
It was $35,000, they said, or something to that effect, to hook up the laundry, as I recall.
I don't remember what the figure was.
It was a huge
but
number.
It was not feasible or worthwhile to do at that particular time. Maybe it is now.
Well, at that time, propane was about $1.20 a gallon.
Yeah.
Or $2.20 a gallon. Now it's $2.70, $2.80.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, it was $1.20 and now it's $2.07. I think was the last one I signed. Anyway, it may be much more cost effective to do it now than it was then. But I remember the figure being shocked, and it was over $30,000.
Yeah, just to go across the hall.
Yep.
The other thing that, I'm trying to think of what, the other item that they dwelled on. Oh, shoot. That the nursing home should break even and.
Oh,
within-
it was about, excuse me,
within
Dave,
10
it
years.
was about their projected, their business plan for moving towards a different ratio, plus bringing in, having 2 beds or 1 bed for hospice
Hospice.
and
Yeah. And rehab.
rehab.
That would bring us in more money than if the bed was filled. And my understanding was the bed had to be filled 41%.
Only 41% of the time to have it break even.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, you want to report on the Association of Counties that you and I went to?
Yeah, you want to start?
I'm trying to think what we didn't talk about 91A being covered in insurance.
They are going to form a subcommittee to look into
That's
that.
right.
The New Hampshire Association of Counties is putting together their policy for 91A.
That's right.
I forgot the term now that they're being called, but they do fall under 91A, and we'll be putting something together regarding that. Had a presentation given by the administrator from Merrimack County. She talked about setting up assisted living in Merrimack County. Because of the amount of money that they're putting into DEAS, that it's a tremendous amount for Merrimack County. I forget what it is for us. It's quite a bit for us as well.
It was 13 million plus for Merrimack County, and it's 4 million plus for us.
Okay. And that she was looking at people 65 years and older, where in 2030, it's going to increase
2025, we're going to be up.
48%.
We're going to have 48% more seniors than we
More
do now.
seniors, right.
And we were the second highest, as I recall, for the increase in seniors.
Right. Yep. And from what I understood, there wouldn't be hardly any tax money going into the nursing home because of the DEAS structure, moving out of Concord and moving into a assisted living. I could be wrong on that one, but it was really close. I think
Was it
that just-
assisted, I don't recall it having it call it assisted living, it was more senior living where, yeah, I guess there is some assistance if you need it, but basically it was a senior community. She talked about the social ends of it and being together.
Mhm.
I think it'd be worthwhile if she came, and I suggested the subcommittee, but if she could get anybody on the delegation to listen to her,
Yeah,
it'd be worth our while, because
Yeah.
we're gonna be hit badly.
yeah, yep. That would be being proactive, right?
Yep, well, that was the name of her program, being proactive rather than reactive to aging population.
Okay, I heard on the radio that IRS is having a lot of issues with social security numbers being used not only for passports, but also for credit cards. And
You gotta give them your card, when you get a credit card, you gotta
You
give them.
have to give it to them. Whether they're being stolen. Anyway, the issue was regarding somebody picking up the social security number through any different kind of a source, and then somebody taking that and using that to further their benefit. And it's becoming increasingly more prevalent than it has been in the past.
Would you like me to highlight that a little bit?
Can you want to highlight?
RFID chips on credit cards. There are RFID chips on credit cards, radio frequency.
Yeah?
And they now produce scanners where you can be in a remote vicinity and scan somebody's credit card at a 20-foot distance. You get all the information.
Huh.
Person stealing.
From a credit
Yeah.
card?
Yep.
Okay. We're waiting for,
Doesn't look like he's gonna show up. I put in 2 telephone calls to remind him that it was quarter of 9 today, and
Oh, okay.
he hasn't showed up, so I don't imagine he's coming.
No, we
Okay.
can reschedule it then.
can we take action now while we're waiting? On Hale's location revised budget. It has to be in our minutes, and it also has to be in the delegation minutes for the Department of Revenue Administration to set the tax rate. You want to make a motion to revise the Hale's location budget to
Well,
whatever you figure you
we can
have?
revise it, but what is the other one from last week? I don't have the numbers, I have only
Well,
this one.
it's a difference of $3,000.
A little bit.
That went up into
I'll give it
education.
to you, David. There's a little difference.
It's in the minutes.
We should have it in the minutes if we approve it or not, didn't we have the
Yeah.
You
numbers
asked
in?
where it was.
Do we have the numbers in?
Yeah.
It was 38, and this one's 41.
So, we had last week,
Didn't I look in this book at the numbers?
Yes, you did.
That's what I thought.
so, last week, it was 338,203.
Here it is.
Commissioner Babson said it was
Oh,
up
he
in
has
the
it?
educational fees,
Oh, okay.
and it's a difference of $3,000 increase.
Not, the education is 186, 178. 5 students.
What is that one?
So,
186, 178.
186, 178.
Let me see that a minute.
It said 5 students.
Which one was it?
Was I looking at the? Oh, I'm sorry. It was
Election.
elections. From 7,000 to 10,140. And there was that's just a total there that's changed. And these are the same.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so it's under here.
Oh,
This
so-
went to,
Okay, so I have to take this out then. So it is under election now, not school tuition.
right. Do I hear a motion to approve that budget?
Yeah,
Or
so,
to revise the
so
budget
moved.
to the correct number?
Yeah,
And the correct number is,
$341,063.
Do I hear a second?
What is the number?
$341,063.
341,060.
063.
063.
You should have it on your desk.
I do.
Okay. So motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Babson seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
No.
All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Then, so voted. While we're waiting,
It's approved.
Juanette, did you do anything towards the cell phone policy?
No, we're still working on,
Okay.
on that, the directive from the commissioners.
Well, either of the other two commissioners submitted any kind of a plan or suggestion?
No. For the, no, the only thing I said was that from the list that we'd received, I thought it was appropriate for those people to have a cell phone. As far as who pays for it, or if we pay a certain percentage of it, I have no clue until we find out what we're gonna have for policy.
Commissioner Kenney, does that have any?
I think the last time we talked about it was my understanding that the HR would look into other counties if they have policies or agreements.
And
So-
I polled all the other counties, and they only have a cell phone usage policy, which is very similar to our usage policy that we have in our personnel manual.
Which we have already.
Right, right.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to bring up this morning that deals with minutes or deals with any of the items that, I guess we're waiting for a lot of people to come in to talk about these different items. And I mentioned that the combination for the safe is sitting on your desk.
Yep.
Um,
That's a new combination, correct?
I've opened it up twice.
Is it the
With
new
that-
one? Because I think I had, a few weeks ago, there was something on my desk. So is this another combination now?
As far as I know, it's the same one that I use.
Oh, it's the same one,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Will
opened it
we
up.
be moving the stuff today from,
If it is
Commissioner Kenny's?
working, yeah, if it is working, we move everything in the safe.
We'll try to, I
Let's
haven't
try
had a
it
chance
first.
to open it.
Let's try it first, if it's work, if we can just open and close it, so we don't have everything stuck in. And
Yeah, okay.
then we can open it, and we have
That's a
nothing.
good idea.
Okay. Um,
And you're moving all the settlements also in the safe, eh? That's my
Those we've got to
understanding.
put in a different category.
Why does
The
that go in a
suggestion is
different
that
category?
they be put on put a seal on those, because they're in a different category than the non-public minutes.
So can you tell
Some of
me,
those are quite old, and some of them are fairly recent, so.
can you tell me what category those goes?
Well, a seal would be put on those so that if anybody went into them and broke the seal, we would know that somebody had looked at them.
So you wanna tell me nobody can look at it?
I'm not
Yes.
saying that. I'm saying that a seal would be put on it to say that somebody had looked at them. Okay, anything else? We're just waiting for people to come in? Yes?
And just to expand on that, one of the things I had talked with Commissioner Sorensen about was having a policy in place similar to like what an evidence room would be at a police department or law enforcement, and having it so that there's a sign in and sign out. But I believe that the commissioners had also said that they would have an inventory of
Inventory.
everything that goes in there with the assistance of Cheryl Morant.
Right.
And having that inventory and having a procedure, so anybody who goes in, anything that is removed, from the safe area where all these documents are stored, would be documented, so that there would be no question as to who had it in their possession. But it would be very similar to the evidence policies that law enforcement have for their evidence, because it's documents that need to be controlled.
Right. Go ahead, Commissioner Babson.
My concern is, this isn't just for us, this is for time in perpetuity. We ought to have some kind of a policy that says it's fine if you check them out, but somebody shouldn't be able to go in, check them out, and then go copy them and put them back. There should be a no-copy policy, or a no-copy policy without a majority of the board's okay, or something.
Sounds reasonable.
You might as well not have a possession policy if somebody can take a picture of it, take it home.
And then those are
Take
not
what-
supposed to
take-
leave the
Take
building.
what home?
Any of the
I don't-
documents.
Why would you take any
None
of the
of-
documents? I mean,
None of those documents should leave the building.
no, none of it should leave.
So that, I think that could be
Included in it. Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, where's Jason? He's supposed to be at 9:15. Road's getting slippery, maybe?
It's around 9:15.
Maybe they got a little dose of conchiitis here.
Hmm?
Maybe some conchiitis, maybe. A few minutes
Oh.
late.
Well, let's see if we can get Ann to come up. Hi. Hey, could you have Ann come on, please? She's not listed on this directory, okay? Thank you, thank you. We have a letter from the construction company that put the roof on this building. And there was a date where we had signed that it was in good shape. After so many years, it was in good shape, it doesn't leak. I'm sure he must use that for a reference to sell his product other places. He's requesting an update on that. And I haven't checked with Jerry, but I understand that there has been no problems with the roof on this building. At the time, he had put in a bid for redoing all of the old nursing home. And at that point in time, we decided to build a new one. And so he's looking for a signature on that.
I'd be more than glad to sign it after Jerry comes in and assures
Okay.
us there hasn't been any leaks.
Okay.
I think anybody that does a good job deserves credit for it.
Okay. we're just
And on our
waiting.
way up?
They're trying to contact her.
Speaking
Yes.
of the devil,
Come on in, Ann.
Why do they always say that when you come into the
Because they
room?
can. I don't say it back.
It's one of those things on
shows
WOKQ
great
this morning was
self-control.
all the old comments that were made, like down the hatch. Well, it's like, speaking of the devil, I didn't hear that one on the program, but anyway, go ahead. You're here for the,
I didn't ask to be, you asked me to
oh,
be.
you did?
I did.
You did, okay.
And a couple of people have contacted me that, on the tables, the high school doesn't want the tables to begin
I
with.
did exactly when I left the meeting last time. I went right down and called, sent them pictures, dimensions and so forth, and they returned the call really quick and said they didn't want them.
Okay.
A couple of people complained that the tables are gonna go, that they say they use them. What is your response to that?
I would like to know who's saying that. There's nobody using those, but on a very rare occasion, and most people, there will be stand-ups for those who want to work standing up. The complaints are going to be from the people who are regulars in the vault, who have been able to use part of the end space as their cubbies, and that was started by a former registrar, not me. It's a privilege, and I think the more I hear about what Primex does and does not cover, we should not be responsible for their materials being left.
The other thing was the room, right? The space, you needed the space.
I want the space.
Okay.
So you feel pretty confident that if we take these out, put them over in the old nursing home, that you're not gonna get a bunch of complaints from the people that use the registry?
We're here for the public. They
That's what I'm
all
asking.
sit at computers for the regulars. They were only looking to store their stuff. When I told them this was going to happen, I got, these are the people I used to sit amongst, you have to realize. I got a lot of grief. And they insisted that other registries let them leave their stuff there. So I contacted all the registrars, and Merrimack County provides lockers, not in the registry, for people who want to rent them. I didn't see that that would be something we would be doing. That's not my call,
Mhm.
and nobody else lets them.
Okay.
And it's been without an issue, except for sometimes they look a little unkempt. And I used to be one of them. They're storing files. They're working for law offices and so forth. And I used to keep a lot of my stuff in my car, have a box in my car.
Does that satisfy you?
Yeah, I just don't want any backlash when we get rid of them.
Okay.
I don't think it's our obligation,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I'm finding out.
You answered the
Fine.
question.
Thank you very much.
You got something else you want to?
No, we had taken pictures, like I said, we sent it to the VOTEC. Diana also sent it to Cheryl, but Cheryl was afraid to post it, not knowing where it should be posted and whether we should say that it's for a price or for,
For free.
well, I
The
think.
tables,
Yeah.
yeah.
You need to tell Cheryl,
Okay.
and then she can put it in whatever part of the website you want it on.
Best offer.
Well, you can put it out there as best offer, and if you don't get an offer, then.
Okay, we'll do it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jason? Road slippery this morning?
Not when I got in.
Not when you get in?
I was there at
Oh,
4:30 this
I
morning.
just
Hadn't started
wondered.
snowing yet.
Is it snowing now?
It is, yeah.
Snow.
It's not from rain to snow already?
Okay, you're here regarding a report as well as the phone contract,
Thank you.
correct?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay.
This morning, we had 61 in. We have 6 out on the monitor, 9 transfers, no weekenders, nobody out on pretrial release, total population of 76. Took in 25 offenders last week, 13 were repeaters, and we released 17 of them. There's a couple of things I'd like to recognize the corrections officers for. Over the past month or so, we've had a number of occasions where offenders were brought into the facility, and during their initial search, they were discovering contraband in the form of illegal drugs. Those were then seized, turned over to the various agencies, being the sheriff's office or the delivering agency, and subsequently the offenders then charged with an additional
Don't the
crime.
people that bring them in search them?
They search them. They're on the side of the road. Sometimes it just things are missed because we're talking about small stuff. And it's through the no fault of the officer that's doing the initial search, but when you're in a more controlled environment, and especially with well-lit areas,
Understand.
the officers find them. So, like I said, we've had a couple of occasions, and most recently, the Sheriff's Office has a felony level case that we're gonna be moving forward on. Secondly, with the event that just took place this past Monday, our officers did an outstanding job in regards to taking the offenders in.
Transporting.
And we also assisted the agencies in transporting. We were recognized by Chief of Ossipee Police Department and said that the people that were out in the community represented the facility very well. We had to call in additional staff because of the number of people we were taking in such a short period of time. Officers really stepped up to the plate and did an outstanding job, and I'd like to recognize them. In the event of the first piece, the searching, we did put a link out on our website under news and events. We recognize the staff publicly on our website as well. And I'd like to ask the Board of Commissioners to look at the contract for the phones and see where we're at with that. Can we move forward on that?
Okay.
I'm all set with it.
You all set with it? So we'll sign it today?
Okay. So I can reach out
To vote to do it.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Securus for the,
Do you have a
what's the
figure?
correct, inmate telephone service, or what's the correct
What's the correct
terminology?
term?
It would be the offender telephone service. It would be.
Offender, accept the bid for the offender telephone service for Securus.
I'll second it. Any further discussion?
And do we have any numbers, or we don't have any numbers?
Well,
We
that,
had them all last week, he gave them all out.
Okay.
they're giving a flat fee. We're gonna be getting a flat rate of $1,400 for commission, plus we were getting the jail management component with it. And then I can't remember, okay. So what we have is for the connection fee, we have $1.55 for a connection fee, 21 cents a minute. For local calls, intrastate calls is $1.55. Connection fee, 21 cents a minute. Interstate calls are gonna match the FCC ruling, and then the international calls is $4 for a connection fee, and 89 cents a minute.
Do we have many international calls?
Over a period of 5 years, we only had 57 when I was looking at this report.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Do you have any idea, Jason, are they to Canada or are they parts unknown?
I'm sorry, sir?
Are they basically international calls, or are they to Canada, or for the most part for somebody we got in our jail that might have come in from Canada, or are they from the island?
I don't know. Alls it says when I ran the report, it just says international call. It doesn't break it down by country.
Okay.
I would assume that it was for Canada because of the close proximity.
Yeah.
And it might have, if we had somebody from Comeau County maybe reaching out to family in Canada.
Would your federal prisoners, would the feds pick up the cost for their telephone? Or are we gonna pick them up?
Well, no, because we'll make commission off of their telephone calls.
Okay.
Yep.
Which reminds me, Kathy mentioned she needed some help filling out
The sheet.
the form.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you that yesterday.
Okay. I'll get with her.
Otherwise, we're ready to move the
Mhm.
federal inmate.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I guess the question Motion was made and seconded that we sign the contract. All those in support of the motion say aye.
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 And then unanimous, so voted. Anything else?
Looking at the video from last week, Commissioner Kenney, and I know you had mentioned it when we were here, you wanted to talk about the Relias, and is that
Yeah,
something
let
that
me
you'd like
see-
to talk about now?
Let me see if I can put it up.
Okay.
See if I can get it now. I had it last week.
I'll give you that, maybe help explain.
Thank you.
Okay, you want to quickly go over that?
Print it out.
Why don't we listen to what Commissioner Kenney didn't think was right first?
Okay.
They can have an idea of what they have to respond to.
You want to talk about it, Commissioner Kennedy?
Okay, I will print it out for you. I cannot look it up anymore there. I had it last week. I called the Rias Learning Company because we had, was it Officer or Sergeant
Sergeant
Baker
Baker.
came in and he gave numbers that there were so many losses.
Sure.
So I called up and she said the total package was worth $1,500 and not $27,000 or $28,000, what he's saying.
Mhm.
Because they added in January a library or something to that program.
The law enforcement package?
They put
Mhm.
something in January that was new, and they have only 2 contracts in the state of New Hampshire. So they were trying to get some more contract, so
Mhm.
they put it free in. But the cost itself didn't change what it was. They had actually cost, the free package was only worth $1,500. So the numbers what they come out are inaccurate. She doesn't know where it comes from. And she mentioned, I think it was Sullivan County and another county, but I forget what the other county was. So I sent her an email and I asked her what the other county was. And last week, she sent me an email and she said that Henry, or Jason Henry, I cannot call the Rias company anymore. Everything needs to go through him.
I think, and I'll let the assistant superintendent speak for that, but I believe it was because she couldn't provide you the figures that you were looking for. You know,
No, it was not about that. It was
Okay.
about, I just wanted to know which counties signed up. She
Okay.
told me it was Sullivan, I forget what the other county was, and I said, what is the other county? And she said, I believe Jason Henry called her and said she cannot talk about anything anymore, their company. But I have her email. I'm
Okay.
going to print it out for you, so you see that what she said. And I called also the other company, what was on the RFP.
mhm.
They told me they never received that RFP, and I talked to the gentleman, and he gave me actually an estimate what is much cheaper. They have
Mhm.
like a similar library, and his library is $3,000 a year. And we are paying with Reliance $4,800 a year. And the setup fee is only $500, a one-time setup fee, and Reliance setup fee is $2,500. And because you're going 7 years with them, what a lot of companies never heard of a 7 years contract, it was really strange to them. He only have a 1-year contract, and max if you want to go 3 years with him, but they don't do 7 years. He was probably shocked. But he also do a trial. Like he will give you for a few months for free to try it out, that online program. And his was much cheaper, so now we're really losing that we didn't go with the other company.
Okay.
That is the loss now.
Was the company that you talked to, was their training accredited by the ACA or the AJA?
It was yes, it was accredited.
Okay.
I don't know where, but it said accredited.
Okay. Well, if we can look at the package I just gave you, we can
Oh,
break
is it
this.
this one here?
Sure, we can break this down. How we reached that $27,000 figure, we had to pay about $900 in advertising. We had Sergeant Baker had to go back and rework all the figures, which totaled up about 16 hours of additional time. That cost about $306. The 15 free licenses that you that you mentioned, we had a cost of $1,800, $1,851.15. If you total that over the life of the contract, that equals $12,958.05.
Excuse me, Jason, and we were gonna lose those, right?
We lost those.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. All these things he's mentioning is,
I don't agree with this. I mean, we always go to bid and we need to pay advertisement costs.
Okay.
And suddenly you put in, he's doing a research. What was the first research? How much did it cost? He said this is addition to research.
Because he had to go
How,
back,
how much is the research that, we already did research?
correct. So he had to go back and do it again. So
For what? Research for what?
to put it
the
on the bid.
RFP had to type it
No,
out.
I don't believe that. This is inaccurate, what you're
Okay.
giving.
All right.
When I talked to the Elias company, she said it cost only $1,500. That was the whole package worth, $1,500. So you guys are inflating all kinds of numbers here. And if you went with the other company, we could save the county taxpayers money because it is much cheaper. So I don't believe all these numbers. She already gave me exact numbers, and you guys are playing and inflating with numbers here. The total value, she said, for 7 years is $1,500. And now you're making up your own numbers.
Do you have any documentation?
Yes, I have her email, and I will print it out and
Why
give
don't you
to
bring it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, she sent me an email because I talked to her. I wanted to have what the value was, and she said they just throw it in. But the actually cost never changed, how much you were going to pay, and you had like 40 slots. Why do you have 40 slots? We don't have 40 officers there.
With part-time medical staff, all that other stuff.
Also, you're putting everyone in.
Correct. Right. With the 15 free spots that we had.
Yeah, but that was an addition that you just put free in, and that was not for them. I mean, law
Point of order,
enforcement,
Mr.
anyone else can do that.
Yes, go ahead.
Before we continue this discussion, I would like to see this so-called email that explains it all.
Oh, yeah.
Could
you
I
get-
have it.
could you-
May I finish,
Yes.
please, Commissioner? I'd like to see the email so that we're sitting here comparing apples to apples rather than accusing people of inflating numbers and doing whatever it is.
Because I already spoke to the Reliance company, and they didn't know where the numbers were coming from. It doesn't come
Sit
from
there.
their
Could we
company.
recess for 5 minutes and you can go get that email?
No,
You don't have the
I don't
email?
have it on, no, I don't have it on the commission sheet. I have to bring it. I will print it out and bring it. I have it ready for next week.
She has both her iPad and her cell phone
Yeah,
here,
but
it's
it
not
doesn't,
on that.
it doesn't come up, no. I had it last week, I had it ready, and you said no. It doesn't pop up now.
Well, do it next week.
Okay, continue on, Jason, with the cost.
Okay. So then, because we were getting the 15 free licenses, we were gonna use a portion of those. We were gonna use 5 of those.
Point of order again, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman. I don't think it's fair to Commissioner Kenney if we're not gonna allow her to continue without the information that Jason and Jason should go ahead and give us information that we can't compare to the email that Commissioner Kenney's got. Why don't we wait for the whole package next week?
Yeah, and I will also print out the estimate, what I get from the other company. They sent me also the estimate. So I
Okay.
will have that also ready.
All right. So we'll table this? Okay.
Thank you for putting that together,
Sure.
and we will keep it for next week. Okay, anything else?
That's all I have, Commissioner.
Oh, yeah. Did those 9 get arraigned yesterday?
No, they're going actually today. The judge wanted them to have legal representation, so they filled out affidavits, financial affidavits at the court, and everybody's being arraigned probably within an hour.
So, and then at that point, you'll be shipping them out to other counties?
Yes, because of the no contact orders that we're gonna have.
So what happens between the time they were brought into jail and the time they get arraigned? They have contact? No?
We move things around as best as possible, operational-wise, to keep them all in different areas, utilizing the
Okay,
areas that we can.
okay. Do you have any idea where you're going to be? You don't have to tell me. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Howie, you're on next. Is Bob coming over?
Yep, he is due here in 5 minutes, so.
All right, all right.
But I have a,
5 minutes, he's here already.
please look at that. 'Cause I had a preliminary item for you in any case about budget, just Paul gave me some final figures today. The subcommittee was suggesting that depending on union negotiations, if anything would result in a financial implication, that they were not willing to fund, just so that we take the fuzziness out of the figures. That number, in the context of what's presently discussed, is
Oh, wait a minute. Is it finalized?
Oh, no.
You can't talk about it then.
Oh,
You
no,
talking about the union contract?
Just in terms of what the total appropriation might be.
I don't think you ought to talk about it.
Okay, well then.
I'm sorry, but
No,
if it's still
that's-
negotiating, we shouldn't
No,
look at
that's
it.
in then in very general terms, it's.
The money's not
We
gonna,
can't absorb it. It would require a supplemental appropriation, because when we start talking about pay raises, there is no cushion that was built into our budget.
Mhm.
So I think their expectations that if there were an increase, that it could just be paid for out of unbudgeted monies is unrealistic, and
I don't know how they can do that.
I don't either.
How they can say that it has to come out of a balance at the end of the year when we don't even know what the balance is.
Or if we'll have one.
Or that we'll have one that, that we have had is because in large measure, we've been lucky in terms of some, medical costs that we haven't achieved, and we're going to continue to try to generate those surpluses. But it's not the result of a puffed up budget. So I'm glad you're on board, because it would be a hardship. There's just no way to absorb that. Rob also got me next month's breakfast date, and that is the 9th. So that'll be the second.
9th of
Wednesday.
April?
So that'll be the second Wednesday. And I think that brings us to Bob with a couple of, you had some questions about boilers that I wasn't prepared to answer.
Yeah.
And other stuff.
Okay,
Good
go ahead.
morning.
Bob. Morning. You want to talk about give us an update on the boilers as to where we are, the pellets, as the pellets increased in price?
Well, we're locked
General
into,
terms.
we're locked into a contract for the
Okay.
pellet price, so we're in good shape there. And we're
How
ready-
long the contract?
1 year.
1 year
It's a
contract.
1 year contract, and we'll be renewing again for next season.
Okay.
Excuse me, Bob, with them. My friend Charlie Nibbling, who's been in this industry from birth, not his, but the industry's, he tells me there's 3 more providers of pellets in New England right now.
Well, it'll go out to bid just like it has every other year, and they'll get an equal opportunity to bid as well.
Well, my recollection is we only went out to 2 places for bid the last time, didn't we?
No, it was,
Had
it was,
No.
it was advertised.
Yeah, but we only got 2 bids back.
Yes, you're right.
There should be at least 4 coming back this time around.
Which is good news. And that competitive pressure should help keep prices down.
Okay. Is there anything we can do, Bob, so that it can be, the pellets can be delivered, they don't have to be delivered in a short truck?
Well, that's entirely up to me, monitoring the level of the silo. We had 1 short load delivered around the holidays, and that's only because I didn't want to run
No,
out
no,
around the
I'm
holidays.
not
Is that what you're getting at?
referring to that. I thought we had a stipulation in the bid that it had to be delivered in a short truck for some maneuverability issue at the.
Oh, you mean the length of the truck?
Yes.
As opposed to a short load?
Yeah, short truck versus a short
No,
load.
I try to get as big of a truck as I can.
We
I
can,
want-
so that's not a,
No, it's not an issue.
okay.
But there's a penalty if we don't use the whole truckload.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, and that's only adjusting the price of the pellets because they have to handle them.
They have a transportation charge for a less than full load.
Yeah, well, they add the transportation charge in anyways, but it's built into the price of the pellets based on a full load. If we take anything less than a full load, they have to adjust the price per ton accordingly, because they have to handle the pellets once they bring them back. They, you know, if we leave 1.5 tons or 2 tons of pellets in the truck, they need to handle them, so they basically,
Okay.
Why?
why? Because
They're
they
pellets, they're gonna go out to the next place that,
don't know how many are in there, they have to weigh them. It's an extra
don't
trip
they
to
weigh
the
the truck?
They have to, it's an extra trip to the scale.
Do they have the scale in their facility?
They do it because they can. Essentially, what they're doing is incentivizing us, giving us a discount for a full load, and penalizing us if we go for anything short.
Well, my problem is when I signed that one that Bob's talking about, we've already discussed it, was we had delivered, I think it was 18 tons out of, had to be 25. And as a result of that, they charged us a $625 delivery charge. Now, if they're building it into the price of the delivery on the 18 that we got,
Should be less.
it should be, you know, we shouldn't be charged on 25 tons of pellets that didn't get there instead of the 6 or 8 that we were short. And
Well, they have to know somehow what not to charge us for pellets. If we leave 2 tons in the truck, they don't know until they put that on the scale. You know, they're not gonna charge us for the tonnage that we don't use or don't take. But
I
they-
understand that, but
they
your
have to handle
statement
it
was the price of delivery is built into the price ton of the pellets.
based on a full 30-ton load.
Right, 30 ton or 25?
30.
Well, we're not penalized if we go under 25.
That's right. They give us a little margin, but it's not much.
A silo will hold how much?
34.
Silo will
isn't it?
hold 34 tons.
34 tons, so you
Yeah.
have to get down to 4 tons
Oh, yeah,
before you
I've
can
got a very,
order.
very small window of opportunity. And
Oh.
they require at least a 4-day notice, at least.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we're burning, what, 2 tons a day?
On the coldest days of the year, we burn about 2 tons a day, a little less than
That's
that
not
now.
much, that's not much room for error on
No.
your part.
That's
No,
2
it's not.
days.
It's not. And I've only been penalized that one time, and
Yeah.
that was around the holidays, and that was by choice. I chose to take a short load because I didn't want to run out around the holidays,
Yeah.
because of the difficulty of schedule.
You know, we might look at the contract and get a longer window, I mean, a shorter
A
window.
lower minimum delivery.
Yeah, well, that too, but 4 days, and we only have, if we let it get down to 4 ton, we're using 2 ton a day. That gives us 2 days, and we have to notify them 4 days. I think we need to look at the contract next year,
We can.
now that we know
negotiate
what's
that.
happening.
Yeah.
It's
but,
gonna be
uh,
easier to adjust the contract than it is to make the silo bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sell a lot of pellets. They have a lot of trucks moving out of there every day.
I'm curious, do we have a choice on the tonnage for the silo? Could it have been bigger?
That's before my time. I'm sure they make bigger silos. Kind of moot at this point.
Okay. So 2 ton, and that's 30 ton, so we got 15 days?
More or less.
Every 15
Every
days,
2
at
weeks.
least they
January,
deliver.
February, about every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Every 2 weeks?
Mhm.
Wow,
More or less.
okay. Did we want to know anything else regarding the pellets, furnaces?
Well, I know that there's,
Pellets, we questioned why the auger broke down, and,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a wear item.
we're,
Yeah, there are other wear items in those boilers that are gonna need attention. I didn't have to budget it for the first year or two, because they were new.
yeah,
But as time goes on, I'm gonna have to start budgeting a certain amount per year for replacement parts.
I think
Basically, inside the
Commissioner Kenney
combustion
asked
chamber.
last week, what's the warranty on those parts? Why, I can see them wearing out, but wearing out in
Well, it's a commercial item, it's a 1-year warranty,
1-year warranty?
yeah,
Okay. On parts and,
yeah, parts,
okay.
is it
long past that.
feasible to ask what it would cost now to connect the wood pellets to the laundry?
For what, domestic hot water?
Yeah, for,
I already got a price on that.
It was 35,000,
It was
wasn't it?
about
33,000.
$35,000 to
something.
$38,000, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah. I didn't think that was, the payback on that would take a long time.
Now, if at some point in the future it ever became feasible for us to take all our laundry service in-house, that would be the perfect time to do it.
yeah.
Or if we are ever into the heating system at the old building for any major work, that would be an opportunity.
Who gave you the bid on that?
Denron. Actually, it was Bonapage and Stone, but Denron's part was plumbing, and then there's also the connecting it to the computer system, pipe insulation, all the electrical, the multiple subcontractors.
Do you feel that was a reasonable price?
I thought it was high.
Why don't we try to go out again and see, use different people, see if we can get it? And you know what part has to be done by the people that know the machine, and then just the regular plumbing work, I would think we'd be able to get a,
Yeah.
Is this something that you are seriously entertaining? You want to put it out to bid? You want to come up with you want me to come up with some kind of a proposal, an RFP, and send it
I
out?
would say yes.
Or is this just something you're entertaining?
Well, the price of propane is now, the last one was $2.07 a gallon, I think it was.
We're
It's up from almost $1. And it's becoming more and more attractive to, we're right there, we've got the heat, why not use it?
We just take us off propane in the laundry,
Not for the
No.
dryer.
except for the dryer?
Yeah, the dryer has to be gas.
This is only domestic hot water consumption. And even if it came in $10,000 less, I think the payback would be a long time,
Yes, it would.
very long time. I'm not sure it's, if you want me to do it, I will, but I'm not sure it's worth the exercise.
Well, think about it, to see if, what the possibilities are. You have a better handle on that than we do,
See if we can come
if
up
it's
with
worthwhile or not.
some kind of a projection.
And we are looking at the same time concurrently, looking at other laundry options, which could include doing away with the commercial laundry, contracting out, and whether or not, depending on the leach field situation and how that could be handled,
Yeah.
whether it could be cost effective, save a lot of money just by bringing that in-house. And that would be the perfect time to do it at that point.
Okay.
It would be paid for in a matter of 1 or 2 years instead of a matter of 10 or 12 or 15 years.
And we have no way of you knowing how much water we use in that laundry either, do we? It's not metered.
I can give you an educated guess, that's about it. I know how many loads a day they use, and I know how many gallons the washing machines use. I know how hot the water is. I can come up with a ballpark.
Okay.
But without.
Maybe that's a place to start, but we can find out whether if the payback's 20 years, obviously it's not worth it. If the payback's 5, it might be worth it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Here's your man. Okay, the item that also needs to be discussed this morning, as you recall, we had a bill of $600 and some to move a
Thermostat.
thermostat.
4 thermostats.
It was located in the wrong location, and it cost us $600 to move it. We felt that that was an architectural problem that we shouldn't pay. Who put it in, Denver? Who put
The architect,
who billed us the $600?
the Control Technologies.
Control Technology?
CTI.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the ones who operate our computer control system for the HVAC system.
Mhm.
They're the ones that installed the thermostats based on the heating engineer's recommendation of location.
Yeah.
So they were installed per specification, but the specification was not optimal. It wasn't
No.
negligent, it wasn't deficient, but it wasn't the right place.
It just wasn't good. So we needed them moved. We've had many discussions about this,
Mhm.
and it got to the point where we needed to have them moved. So I ordered them moved from
Mhm.
CTI.
Yeah.
Made the order with them, told them that I would get them paid, and we'd worry about the money after, because they needed to be done for resident comfort.
Did it pay off?
Absolutely. There hasn't been a problem since.
I would make a motion that we pay the 600, I don't know what the figure is, $600 and some dollars.
It's under $700, but it's more than $650.
Okay.
Whatever they bill.
That we pay the bill not to exceed $700, and it'd be taken out of the construction money, miscellaneous. Do I hear a second?
If you amend it.
Well, you can second it, and then you
I'll
can
second
amend
And
it.
then we'll amend it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's been my feeling all along that we paid an architect and a heating and ventilating person to tell us where to put them. They did not put them in the most effective place, which is not our fault. I think we probably owe CTI the money because we moved it, but we have an obligation, and that after we pay them to the taxpayers, to go to, was it AGE or whoever was the one that told us to put them there, to collect the money.
I went to EGA, the architect, because the architect employs the mechanical engineer.
And what did they say?
Who puts it, and with the idea, because I thought, well, this is why architects have errors and omissions and insurance. Well, that didn't get very far, this doesn't, and I checked with others. This is considered in the general construction industry as incidental problems that are corrected, and it's part of what the contingency amount of the contract is for, if they were negligent, if were clearly wrong or didn't meet established practice. They weren't in horrible positions, they just weren't optimal positions for resident comfort. Some things they can't anticipate. It would have been better if they did, but we did try. Just on a hope, did go back to the architect, and they were not willing to budge.
Well, my amendment is that we pay the bill to CTI and we send half the bill to whoever is in charge of telling us where to put those things. And you can't be any further than that. I mean, we clearly have no responsibility in it. We didn't tell anybody where to put them. All we did was pay for it. They were put in the wrong place by the experts that we paid 10 or 15% of the total cost to tell us what to do. And they put it in the wrong place.
We
Call
are,
it what you want.
we're all right, we're all correct. You are correct, Howie's correct, I concur with his statement about EGA. I agree that this was not negligence, it was just a poor location.
And it was their call.
And it was their call where to put it, but after it was put into practice, we found that it wasn't ideal, and I found a better location, and it's working. So, it's not negligence.
See, once we accept the building and move into it, essentially at the point before we move in, you have the opportunity to move things if it's deemed.
Howard, you had no idea whether those three things were working before we moved in.
No, that's right.
Well, I know,
I mean,
but
that's baloney.
They were moved after we moved in.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
If I recall correctly, there was a conversation that the company, Technologies, or whatever their name is, they were going to build EGA. So EGA reject that, didn't pay the bill, is that correct?
I don't know.
I can't.
Because we had a conversation, we said we shouldn't be paying for it, they should go to EGA. Did the Technologies company build EGA and then reject it, and then they came back to us?
I don't know, I can't answer that.
I thought we had a conversation.
I'll second the amendment. So we'll vote on the amendment. The amendment says that we will pay up to the $700, and that we would bill, the architect half
Yep.
the amount.
Why would we bill at half the amount? I mean, they need to pay the whole amount. I mean, if there is a blueprint, if they coming in and said a thermostat needs to go in these places, and it is wrong.
No, they put it where the blueprints said
Yeah.
it should be.
Yeah, well, so they put it wrong. Why do we have to pay for it? It is their mistake. I mean, they must also have in their own budget, if they made mistakes and negligence and whatever, and they have insurance too, EGA, that it should be covered and it should be a write-off for them. I don't think we should pay for it.
I agree. However, they build into, as Howie explained, they build into every construction project contingencies for problems such as this that come out of contingency money, whether it be our, which typically is our money, or whoever the end user is. That's the standard of the industry. unfortunately. And it's, I don't think it's right, you don't think it's right, we're in agreement there, but that's how it is.
Any reason why you want to bill them for half?
But it is this.
Just to show good faith, to stop the argument, get the bill paid.
It's
Okay.
their mistakes.
All those in support of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay.
No.
Did you, which way did you vote?
I just say no against
Okay.
everything.
So the
I'm
amendment
opposed.
passes, so
I'm
now we're
opposed to
voting on the
everything.
full motion that we pay up to $700 to whoever billed us, and that we send a bill to the architect for the other half. All those in support of the motion, say aye.
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 I oppose.
All those opposed, nay. Okay, 2-1. We'll pay the bill.
Thank you.
Anything else you're going to bring up this morning?
That's all we have for you.
All beds filled? We haven't had a report on the number of beds filled, but
Well, right now, I think we are down 3. We have had since Christmas. I think we're just at about 20 discharges, most of which have been deaths. It's been unprecedented in the history of Mountain View. Jen, I know we have another admission tomorrow, but it's been, and we've also just had 2 discharges to home, which is a good thing. So we're about three shy.
were those rehabs?
Those were rehabs, which is actually a good thing. So which is exactly the kind of thing that we're trying to encourage, because our reimbursement rate for those days is about twice what it is for long-term care. Met last week with people from hospice. There's another rate setting that's actually at about $640 a day for inpatient hospice care or general inpatient care. And while those days will never be tremendous in number, the days that we can capture under that window is 3 and 4 times what.
Who's paying that?
That would be Medicare.
Medicare?
Medicare, and so there's no state or county money involved in that. So we're looking at ways to maximize revenues that even without, this could affect the people who are already living there. So, but in some cases, we haven't pursued every opportunity that's out there.
Who makes the decision as to the going hospice? A doctor?
Doctor does.
And our doctor can do that?
Our doctor can. In fact, the attending physician has to agree. There's also the hospice doctor. Hospice has a medical director.
Or do they?
So, but it does require the physician to certify. That ends up being more, now there's hospice care that pays the hospice and there's hospice care that pays us. Up to this point, when we've had hospice, the additional monies have not come to the county. They've come to the hospice provider, whether that's Central New Hampshire V&A and Hospice or whether that's Solimer Hospice. They've been the 2 primary hospice agencies that bring in staff.
So why do they get paid? What part do they play in the whole hospice?
Well, they bring in special care, bereavement counseling for families, special care, special pain management.
We can't do that?
Well, we are not licensed as a hospice, and it's unusual for a nursing home to be able to be. But within that category, when somebody needs intensive, when someone's unstable, there is a general inpatient rate that would allow us to get paid separate from hospice. And we need to pursue that. We're about ready to be able to do that. The other advantage, as we look towards possibly encouraging more hospice use that could be on a short term, is that they would bring in more private pay. It would allow us to use some, what we're gonna be calling swing beds, that could be used for Medicare, to be used temporarily for hospice, temporarily for respite. So that as a way of increasing our private pay stay without decreasing our Medicaid census.
Any further questions from the board?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may want to stick
Thank you.
around now for the next one.
Okay, I will be here.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Mike Dugan,
Yes.
come on up, please. Good morning.
Morning, how are you doing today?
Good. Okay, you made the contact. You wanna-
Mike, did you by any chance get on my 2 phone calls?
Get your 2 phone calls?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Get two
Okay.
to let you know to be here at 8:45. And
Okay.
please call back and confirm it. You didn't get either one of them on your own cell phone?
I've been on the road, on the cell phone, no, I've been on the road a lot in the past, week or so. When we booked this appointment, I said there's no way I could be here earlier than 10 o'clock due to parent obligations, so,
Okay.
I did the best I could.
Okay.
Figured 10 o'clock is what we agreed upon, and
Okay, I guess the question is, what does your company provide the Carroll County complex, as far as Time Warner is concerned?
And what can it?
And what,
And what can
And
it
what can
provide?
and what possibilities do exist?
what I always try to do with our customers is not basically say, this is what we do and this is what you will take from us. I like to kind of right-size our opportunity that maximizes your budget, so you get the most, either bandwidth, phone calls, cable providing, at the lowest cost. What Time Warner can do is we can do a variety of products and services for Carroll County. We can offer you the traditional cable TV. We can offer you channel insertion on the cable TV. So if you want to actually have a channel where you can insert your own content, you can do that. That's what a lot of municipalities are doing. Actually, prisons are doing that a lot right now. In terms of the phone, we can touch anything upon a single phone line all the way up to what we call SIP trunking. SIP trunking works with your phone system to provide a low-cost way to basically make phone calls almost on an IT level, internet-based level for the phone calls on the SIP technology. We can also do PRI, so we can do anything from a single phone line all the way up to basically handling any sort of company size, phone calls that you need. Then on internet, we have anywhere from a 7 meg by 768 connection that you might need for a small office, anywhere up to a 4 gig circuit if you need it. So it's really just kind of
Yeah.
right-sizing it. Additionally, we have a lot of value-add services. We recently bought a company called Navisite, which can basically do a lot of management to your services. So if you want to have your computers all have the same desktop, they can do a desktop management where they control your desktop, so it doesn't matter where you log in, you'll have the same desktop, no matter if you're at home or at the office. So kind of can,
Excuse me, Mike. Lynette, can you see if John's around?
Sure.
Please. He's our IT person.
Okay.
It would be very helpful to have him here. I think he's here Monday
Yeah.
and Wednesdays, but anyway, go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
no worries. So Navisite will also do anything such as off-site data storage. They can do data backup and recoveries. There's a lot that they can do to kind of offload a lot of the day-to-day operations to really free up your IT staff so they can kind of be more proactive. I've seen a lot of IT staffs are mainly reactive at this point. Hey, we need this, and they're not being proactive and saying, this is how we can safeguard your information. Whenever there's a breach, it's a black eye for whoever it happens to, whether it's a retail store or a county. So really it's just kind of right-sizing what you are looking for. So when I always have these discussions, I find out what is the scope that you're looking for? Is it one building? Is it a variety of buildings? What are we looking at possibly providing? When you go in there, existing contracts, we can give you the best phone proposition out there, but if you're in a contract with somebody else, we never recommend canceling that contract. We always recommend fulfilling the contract and then moving on over. So it's really kind of getting an understanding of what you have today and what you're looking to do, because as you probably have seen just on the county budget, bandwidth is increasing as well as cost. People are using it to pay their bills, to go online, you need the bandwidth. Anything from, even schools, they're increasing the bandwidth dramatically because testing's all done online. So it's really kind of looking at a long-range plan to say, this is what we need today, this is what we need in 3 years, and making sure the budget's there for you. So in regards to the county, what are the actual locations that you're looking at?
All
that
three
you're
buildings.
encompassing?
We want to tie the phone system in all three buildings. and maybe even a fourth.
And is it the 3 buildings that you can see right here from the parking lot, across the street here, and then the...
Yeah,
Jail,
we got the
nursing home,
jail.
administration building.
Now, do you have a current phone vendor? They're the people that you would call if we need, hey, we need 4 more phones over here. The equipment
Alright.
manufacturer, they're also the people that do a lot of the networking of the phone.
John, come on up.
Gwinnett, could you see if, excuse me again, could you see if you could get Mike or Dominic to come up, or Richard? We're sorry, I should have planned better. Mike, this is,
John Rich.
John Rich, our IT person. and-
Mike Duggan, Tom Warner.
Hey, Mike,
How you
pleasure.
doing?
Good.
I was just asking questions about basically anything from bandwidth to managed services, anything like that. The question was asked, what services can we provide? Time Warner previously has just been cable, now it's phone, internet, managed services. So we can do as much or as little as you need. And a lot of the questions that I have for customers can be the right size for you, but if you're in a contract with somebody else, it doesn't help you at that point. So I was just kind of looking to find out what we could, what's on the table, what we can look at. Then I go back, kind of work with my engineers, provide you with a pricing, breakdown of that, and show you, the benefits. And then a lot of times it's also, great, let's do internet now. Cable we can do as well, but phones we can't do until this time. The phones on the other side, we have to make sure that the phone manufacturer can fit in with, some of our products and services. Because that's even dependent upon what we use, so. So I was just getting ideas for the 3 buildings, possibly 4, for Carroll County.
Mm-hmm.
So the jail, the office,
The new nursing home,
and the nursing home.
and the old one possibly.
And is the old one obviously still in use?
No,
No.
well, as storage. Well, I shouldn't say that. We have that's an inaccurate statement. We have our pellet burner that provides the heat for the new nursing home,
Okay.
and our laundry and our maintenance storage area.
All right.
The rest of it's vacant.
Now, are you looking for these services, we'll go right down the line. We already know phone, so phone at all 4 of those locations. Do you know if the phone system's all tied in, so do you have one PBX that,
We do not have that at this time.
Okay.
That's future project.
okay,
Because right now, actually, all our buildings are not tied into each other in any way. And something that I have for a budget request for the 2015 year, when we get to that point. And I think that's going to facilitate a lot of this and allow us to combine services throughout the entire county, and which of course will save the county money.
absolutely, and it gives you the redundancy as well. If you have a local area network, it's basically tying all of your buildings together. If there's ever a cut going into the jail, services can be routed back through the nursing home and to the central office, so on and so forth. So it gives you that kind of redundancy built in. It's a great option. But right now, the phones are not all networked at each location. Do you know if there's a PBX at each location, or are they business class? They're just basically what we call POTS lines, individual lines, just kind of ganged up.
Combination,
Okay?
depending on each individual facility. We have combination of T1, POTS, SIP lines, so.
What does, back up, what does T. Warner provide us right now?
Time Warner?
Time Warner?
Just our internet. And I think we have 5 connections throughout all the facilities. Jail has one, nursing home has one, Sheriff's Department has one, the administration side of this building has one, and the Registry of Deeds, they have their own as well.
Okay.
I don't know how it comes in here, but they also have the cable TV, whether it comes over the T1 line or some other way.
That comes in by a cable connection,
Okay.
cable TV
It's not
connection.
Like a coax.
Coax.
Okay.
Type feed.
But
I know
Time Water also provide telephone and
Don't they have the telephone?
Don't believe they
Oh, is
provide
it
our
a nursing
telephone.
home?
I don't believe they provide our
No, I
telephone
didn't see
service.
that.
I
That's fine.
remember there was a 7-year contract, that was signed by a previous
Yeah,
board.
me.
There is a contract of
I didn't
7.
see that, and typically we don't do a 5-year contract.
I believe
I
it's for the
think there was
cable.
a 7-year. For what was that?
I don't know.
In Mountain View, it's Fairpoint for telephone. For the
It's
copper-
Fairpoint?
For the 8 copper lines that we have.
Right, they're pointing
How
out
we-
Bay Ring, I
do you-
believe, as well.
How,
Yes,
do you
Bay Ring
remember
too.
a 7-year contract with Time Warner?
I've not seen any contracts with Time Warner.
What time?
Mhm.
I believe it was a 7-year contract.
All right. Now, how do the contracts stand right now for the telephone lines for Bay Ring and Fairpoint? Are they,
I'd have to go back and look at the contract.
I don't know.
okay. How has SIP been working out? Have you seen the savings when you switched over to that?
Howard?
Right, there's been significant savings at the nursing home. Right now, we're only using 8. These we have largely for emergency call elevators. We have to have dedicated lines
Absolutely.
by code. But the voice over internet protocol lines have working well.
Excellent. Yeah, I always recommend keeping a few copper lines. It's a great point. Keeping a few copper lines in these buildings, like what you have at home typically, the old style. Power goes out, they're still powered by Fairpoint. So alarms, elevators, security systems, we always recommend keeping those separate. Once again, it gives you that diversity that I think is important in IT. And now with the POTS lines, are they set up just free local, but then you pay for long distance and local long distance and out of state?
The POTS line being what?
POTS lines are like the plain old telephone system lines. They're just like a single line that might be installed, maybe 4 in this building.
Those are only for elevator emergency
All right.
use and for individual resident use presently. Although we're evaluating switching from those and bringing them into the main system.
All right. NT ones. So if we could look at, SIP technology, I think, if you're doing SIP now, I think your phone system, do you know what type phone system you actually have for PBX?
Boy, I can see
I
that.
believe you have a Samsung system.
It is
Samsung? Thank you.
John knows it is.
All right, now I just have to see if that works with our SIP program.
With 99 extensions.
That's what the Samsung can do?
That's what we have. It can do more.
All right. And the goal, like you said, in 2015 is to have county-wide phone system or just local area network?
We've got to connect our buildings with fiber optics.
It's to get the physical connection in place.
All right.
From there, we can start combining multiple services.
All right.
Sheriff, we have Time Warner here to talk about a phone system.
Now, looking at the cable, the nursing homes, is there a need for increasing that at all? Is there a need for channel insertion there to insert your own programming? Some people do that where they'll actually have a movie night and they can show their own movies on a specific channel.
We don't have it.
But we would love to trap out a channel.
There's the man to
Okay.
talk to.
Yeah, we'd love to trap out 1 or 2 channels, or they have one for news and information and the other for, as you say, general broadcast.
Yep. Okay. And is there any need to have the cable at the admin building or the registry, maybe in common areas?
You have cable, do you not, Don?
Yes.
In the dispatch center?
Yeah, yeah.
So the answer to that question, Mike, is yes.
All right, perfect, thank you. And obviously by bundling services, there'll be cost savings as well. So a lot of times, things are added here and here and here, and they're not looked at as a whole. So that's something my whole group will do to kind of combine it all for the savings. In terms of the bandwidth, the 5 connections you have, are they still sufficient in terms of the bandwidth that you're
No.
getting? No. Remember what you have for the bandwidth?
I don't know off the top of my
I
head.
think it's 15 by 2. So 15 megabytes down, so that's when you go out to the internet and you pull information down, you're receiving emails, you're going to the internet. 2 meg up is typically sending an email out, sending information, so. People, I've seen it going up to even a 50 by 5, 50 megs down, 5 megs up. Ballpark of that's in the 200s. It's not that big of a jump to basically double your speed. To give you that flexibility, then there's also Ethernet available. Ethernet has a fantastic service level agreement. Time Warner service level agreement is 4 hours mean time to restore. A lot of people have mean time to repair. That is basically when we we understand you're down, we'll get to, getting back to you within 4 hours. Ours is to restore your service. So that's on the Ethernet products. Great thing about Ethernet, you're probably well aware, you can start at 5 megs, but you can also use that same circuit as you grow to basically say we need more bandwidth, and we can kind of ratchet up the bandwidth as you need it. A lot of times people will do that as well in terms of seasonality. So if spring and summer are very busy, you can kind of go with 50 megs during that time. Might drop off in the fall, you can actually tell us to turn that down a little bit. So it gives you that flexibility for your budget as well, and all that. And so what we'll take a look at is basically those 5 connections you have, kind of right-sizing those to what you feel that you need.
What we really need is to combine everything into one high-speed 50 meg or better symmetrical.
Yeah.
But we're just not ready for that at this time.
Right. Is the budget available this year to right-size what you currently have?
15 by 2 that we currently have at each connection is okay.
Sure.
And enough that we can live with until such time as we can take the 5 and combine them into one. Either Ethernet product from you, we're also looking at fiber products from Bay Ring and Fairpoint.
Yep.
So.
And one caveat I always recommend to customers when you're talking about fiber/Ethernet, make sure it's a true Ethernet fiber and not what some of the competitors are doing. They're called EOC. They're using the older technology, the copper lines, kind of bundling them together to give you the speed, but it's not an Ethernet product. There are ceilings to that where they can't bundle any more copper pairs together to give you the bandwidth, and you're basically, at that level where a true Ethernet provider will bring out Ethernet to your location and allow you to basically go from anywhere from 5 megs up to 4 gigs, basically at a blink of a hat. So it gives you that flexibility, also depending upon the equipment that we put out here, to rate limit you and all that, so.
Sure.
So if I have this correct, so the phone lines, we're gonna take a look at the 4 different locations. Is there a way that I can get a breakdown of the number of lines at each location?
Yeah, we'll have that
Yes,
for you.
we'll have that for you.
Perfect.
Number of telephones.
Yes.
We can give you a billing on a monthly bill.
I don't even need to see the monthly bill. I think anyone in this business can take a look at a bill and come in $10 lower. That's not how we do business. We're gonna give you the right price originally. I'm always questionable of people that say, show me a bill. I'm gonna work off what you give me. If you say we have 10 lines here, we have 8 SIP trunk, call concurrent paths here, that's what we're gonna kind of build it upon. And then we can kind of combine that. We can look at the cable for the channel insertion for the locations, to kind of, like I said, it allows you to kind of give that, movie night type thing. We recently did a prison in Maine, and they do a lot of their training on that for the prisoners. They put in their content right there so they can kind of see it right into their own cell.
Is there a cost associated with that?
There's a one-time cost for that. It's $1,000 for the channel insertion. You have your own equipment. So your own equipment might be a DVD player that you can plug into. It might be a computer where you can kind of put a PowerPoint presentation on there. It just kind of circles through everything. So once you pay for that insertion, it's on there. The one thing you do lose is one channel. We don't pick that, you folks pick that channel. So if you don't want a home shopping network or something else, you can say remove that and put this channel in place of that. So it's really customizable to what you folks want. And it can be customizable even based upon buildings. So if the nursing home wants it different from the jail, then you could do it that way as well. And so the phone, we went through and then the data, the connections. I will take a look at what you've been on. There are some programs that we can look at right now that work with your budget that you might be able to get a bandwidth increase for not as much as you think, based upon how old your circuit is and how old the equipment is. So if there's some old services on there, then we can kind of take a look at that and say, this is what we can upgrade it for, because we understand budgets. And at least knowing what the pricing is will allow you to set up your 2015 budget, which, let's be honest, we'll probably be here in about 6 or 9 months anyways when you start looking at it. So I will...
Sheriff, you have some unique situations in your dispatch center, telephone-wise?
Yeah, I mean, we have all the lines coming in, but they're all recorded, obviously. And then the only thing that concerns us that may, is the 911 line.
Yeah.
That has to be set up.
I always err on the side of caution. I would love to have all the business, but I also see the value of Fairpoint, the local provider, providing a copper line going in there, a powered line for that. You can always have that as the main line and then go with the Time Warner lines behind that, so that line is still working. Our phone system also works with basically a call manager, so if the phone lines do go down because of, somebody does not call dig, say the backhoe digs up a phone line or there's a crash into a telephone pole, you can actually go onto this portal and reprogram your lines to ring elsewhere. So if line ABC cannot be reached anymore by the outside world, you can change that to ring to somebody's cell phone or to somebody's home phone, so you still get the calls coming in. So that's all done on a portal that's provided free of charge that somebody here can actually access and look at. They can also use that portal to set up hunt groups. So you have one published number, and then if that's busy, it goes to the next line, the next line, the next line. So it gives you folks a lot of flexibility where people don't have to call into Time Warner to make those changes. They can just basically go online, make those changes, and it will be retroactive. The portal works in, everyone's heard about the cloud. The portal works out there, so once the phone lines see that this is down and they've been redirected to another number, that's where it all works. So it doesn't have to hit your phone system. And I have some information for you on that as well in here. So that's free with all of our voice products, and that's a great addition to any sort of IT staff because they can manage that. If a building is inhabitable because a heater breaks down or something like that, once again, you can change the ring to of those numbers elsewhere, so it gives you that flexibility.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
Mike, you mentioned off-site storage.
Yes.
Is that the same as DocStar or one of these other
I'm not
companies?
familiar with DocStar. Is that?
You come in and we scan the paperwork and send it to the clouds and it stays there? Or what are you talking about off-site storage?
It's what you're talking about. So there's actually a data center that you can actually upload everything to. It will give you geographic diversity as well. So if there's ever been a catastrophic, accident here and, you can't access everything here locally, it's in a data center. You can have that in Andover, Mass. is the closest one to here. It's all SAS compliant, so that's one of the storage requirements out there. So you can kind of upload everything to that. That is available to you through Navisite, which is a Time Warner company. I'm a big fan of geographic diversity. I don't like having all your eggs in one basket. So if you're, storing things here and something happens here, you've lost everything. So putting it elsewhere and allowing you to grab it, whether you have to go to, Concord, New Hampshire to be able to access it, or, North Conway, you will be able to access it.
We are in the process of looking at off-site storage. Do we talk to Time Warner about it, or do we go directly to NAVSite?
I would let Kim Jennings, who's our NAVSite Regional Director, basically come on out and talk to you folks. So I would set that up for you.
Is that Ms. or Mr.?
Ms. Kim Jennings, yeah.
Well, I think we'd like to do that.
And if you need to meet at 8:30, we will.
Okay. Commissioner Babson, keep in mind that we currently have off-site redundancy on most of our backup systems, and as soon as the budget is approved for this year, we'll bring the jail into that as well. So we currently have disaster recovery plans in place. So.
But do we have, why aren't we going to off-site storage of our whole second floor full of records?
Well, we're considering the DocStar document management system for that, which is more than just outside storage. That's
Well, that's what I thought we were talking about when he said outside
Well, there's
storage.
document management, and then there's off-site storage. Off-site storage doesn't give you management capabilities per se. There's no search function. A lot of features that DocStar or one of their competitors would offer us is not what that's offering. He's just offering a place to have copies of all our data here somewhere else. In the case that if this building went up in flames or whatnot, we could access them quickly. So it's a little bit different of a product.
Thank you.
By the way, you need to be here Monday,
Okay,
okay, for the delegation meeting,
okay. What time is that?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, I will be here.
So,
So what do you need from us? You've got the buildings.
Breakdown, I do have the buildings, breakdown of the phone count at each of the buildings.
Phone count, okay.
I already have information on your 5 connections. I'm gonna see if there's any sort of savings that we can offer immediately on that. And then, cable, we will also take a look at what the nursing home, it has with us, and look at channel insertion for there as well, and basically set that up as, give you the pricing for that as well.
Howie, our cable, it's expensive going to get a nursing home.
It is. Well, I mean,
And it is through Time Warner?
it is.
Yes.
I think you ought to look at that right away.
We will.
They were good. We actually, last year, was able to negotiate it down through a New York office of Time Warner. And we're able to get, which referred to a Portland office, and we're able to save considerably. But it's still a big number each month.
Okay.
So you need a phone count from us, Mike?
Yes,
That's it
sir.
so far?
Yes. And then everything else we would have in our records back at the office that we'll kind of pull together. And once again, by combining of services, you'll be able to see savings, by combining 2 or 3 services on top of that. So when I come back, we can kind of review the pricing, look at what the savings are, and then we can kind of make a plan for if you're gonna be moving forward to that. I'll also, who should I follow up with about possibly having NAVSite come out?
Well, I
Yeah.
think John explained we don't need to.
All right.
Don't need to.
I don't know that we have other products from Time Warner
Okay.
or others where we could spend that money that'll give us far more benefit than that.
Okay.
Okay.
Like typically a plan, how does it go from year to year, an increase in price? I hope it isn't like my phone service that I have in cable with Time Warner at my house. I think it started at $99 and now it's $162. Do you go on a small percentage every month every year, or do you negotiate each portion of the contract every year? Or
Nope, not every year. We typically look at, you know, say a 3-year contract. If customers need to move down, the price goes up a little bit. If customers can go out to a 5-year, they can save even more money. This question's asked to me all the time when I'm with friends about the billing and all that. When you sign up, you have the best rates available that are given to you. After a while, there's a lot of services out there that drop off after 3 months. They'll let you try the free movie channels for 3 months. Unfortunately, when that goes away, you start getting billed for that. That's the first jump you see in that. At any time anyone has ever called into customer service or gone into one of our you know, retail stores or our you know, company areas, they can always renegotiate that down. I tell people that all the time in the Portland area. Go into our store and they come out with back to the savings, because typically they've been with us and now all of a sudden the DVR service is not free anymore and you're seeing that $9 charge on there. I always tell people if they read the bill, they can actually see where their change has happened, and then you can call back in and say, what sort of promotion do you have? Whenever you're under contract, you're going to be at the lowest price. When you come out of contract is when rates do fluctuate. Could we do a better job notifying people of the changes? Absolutely. But it's something on their bill, it's something that they get when they sign up saying, these are your rates for the 12 months, these are your rates for 3 months, and then it changes from that. So I always recommend that people call back into customer service, ask what they can do for you know, savings. If it's signing another year commitment, then you do that and you go back to the savings. But there's a tremendous amount of you know, upgrades that are being done to the network, a lot more content's being given out to customers. The features are getting on the TVs, you're allowing to get a lot of like instant playback of TV shows or go back. That all was not there 3 years ago. So price has gone up. Typically your bandwidth has gone up for the internet at home, as well as the features available to you on the phone. So it has gone up, but you're getting a lot more typically today than you did 2 years ago.
You can use all those benefits, can't you?
I sure could.
And you know, you look at what people are getting for bandwidth at their home. Back in the old days, for a company, they would get a T1, and that would be great business for them. It would be so much bandwidth. Now, most traditional homes have at least 15 megabytes. So the homes nowadays are having a lot more bandwidth than companies did back, 10 years ago. So but everything's going to the wireless. You have your phones and everything else that works off that. So people are getting 50 megs to their house for internet connectivity. So a lot more has been given to you, but if the rates seem high, I always say just call in to the customer service and see what they can do.
Well, I wasn't, not fair to take up my bill with you people. I was concerned if we come to an arrangement with you people, can we expect a fairly level or slight increase on a yearly basis rather than a huge jump the second year or the third year? Or
if we sign a 3-year agreement, the prices stay the same for 36 months. That 3-year agreement does not lock you into any sort of bandwidth commitments or phone level commitments, it just locks you into the service. If at any time you need to increase your bandwidth or add phones or add cable features to that, you're free to do that, and then we'll basically give you the new lower rate based upon that. So we'll make contracts coterminous, so if you increase your bandwidth at the 18th month, for the remainder of the 18 months on a 36-month contract, we'll basically give you the higher bandwidth at that same rate. So it's all driven by your contract.
thank you.
Okay. John, you got any questions?
Nope.
Anybody in the public got any questions? No? Okay. We'll try to get you that information,
Awesome.
and we'll move on from there.
I'll leave that. And my business card's in there that you can.
Okay,
forward
I was gonna
information.
ask you for that, yep.
Thank you for your
Okay,
time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. What do you got for work session?
I have a question for Commissioner Kenney. Commissioner Kenney, last week you came into the office downstairs and requested and received all of the, or the telephone records for our HR person.
Yes.
With their personal numbers on it. Forget my own opinion, which is, that's really a privacy item, or privacy thing that shouldn't happen, but I would have thought that if you had some kind of a question about the HR person
Or an issue.
that you might come to the board and say, I have this issue, and perhaps we should look at the telephone records and we'll do some investigation rather than taking them and going home and doing whatever, God knows what you do with them.
Commissioner
But
Babson,
I'd like to ask you right here, why did you feel you needed her?
Commissioner
phone
Babson,
records?
you sent me an email. Didn't you get my response?
Yes, but I'd
Yeah,
like
the
to have it here in
respon- the res-
public.
The response is there that I was looking at how many minutes she used. It is paid with county taxpayers' money, is subjected to 91A, anyone can file. I already have my response. I will print out my response and then I will submit it for the meeting then. My response is there and you have it.
I'm not sure that 91A, it's a 91A issue. She's an employee, not a board. And I'm not sure that
It's
that we have the
subjective.
right to ask her. You obviously think we do. and,
It is subjective.
My other concern is she seems to be the only one that you've singled out, and I would have to say over the last
I didn't
2
single her
months.
out.
Well, have you asked for anybody else's telephone record?
Not yet.
So we can
Not yet.
expect some more.
This was done under probation. Nowhere in the state a probationary period that somebody demanded a cell phone. It was done under probation without any approval by the board.
What does that have to do with the telephone numbers that you?
Commissioner
to say
Babson,
nothing
I
of-
will print out my email. We've been over this. You send me email. I have my answer there.
Okay, well,
And that's it. I have no more comments on the subject.
The problem with that particular phone line is that she gets calls in from employees that may have an issue that does not want to get exposed to the general public or to any other individual, as far as that goes. There are cases where other people who have cell phones that doesn't affect, but in the HR field, it's important to keep the clientele not open to the public, because they will lose confidence then in the HR person as far as handling whatever their issue is. Supposedly, she tries to handle that at the local level after it comes from the department head. And so therefore, anybody that gets on her cell phone list, then you have access to anybody who has called her or that she has called. Now, if you're looking at her making phone calls privately for her own particular reason, it's hard to separate out what call she makes on that situation versus what calls she's making for employees. So I'd be very careful as to how you use that information.
Commissioner Sargent, there are no names, there's nothing there on, it's only the minutes. How
That's not
many
true,
minutes it
Commissioner.
is.
There's the
What is
telephone
on.
numbers that she called.
But there's no
And
names
you can
on.
go to a reverse it back anytime you want and find out exactly who she called, so tell the truth.
There's no names on the paper, it's
No, there
only the
isn't, but there's a
minutes.
telephone number.
There's only minutes there.
No, there is
how
not,
long
there's
it
a
takes.
telephone number.
Yeah, but there's no names.
Okay, you got the picture. Present your document. You know, every time we come up with an issue here, you say you've got emails or you got documents and so forth. I realize you're caught off guard on this particular one. But when we're talking with the jail, with the superintendent, if you got emails and so forth, bring them with you so that we can discuss them.
I had
okay?
everything last week, but you said you wanted to do it this week.
And so you didn't bring them this
I
week?
didn't bring everything in, I had it last week.
Okay.
I will bring it in next week.
Next item on the work session?
Well, it begins to look as if perhaps Commissioner Kenney has singled out the HR director. You also, last week, she mentioned that down in the office, she needed some non-public minutes that are locked in your safe, and you refused to give them to him, even though both David and I asked you to do so, and you did go do it yourself, I'll say that.
Commissioner Babson, she
Wait a minute,
refused.
Wait a minute, go ahead.
And that she mentioned, Lynette mentioned she'd signed a confidentiality agreement, and what was the problem with that? And it wasn't 2 or 3 hours later that there's an email and you want a copy of the confidentiality agreement. I would have to say to you, do you have some suspicion that she's releasing information that would require you to have hers rather than just our standard one that people sign?
Commissioner Babson, if she signed a confidentiality agreement with the board, I never saw it. I need to know about it. I didn't even know that she signed it. She mentioned that.
She sat right here in an interview and told us she'd signed it that day. If you've been paying attention, you would have heard her say it.
She didn't say that.
Okay. And I have another one
I
that
was
have to do
I
with
was
what appears
amazed.
to be a personal attack
And
on the HR
something
director.
else, can I respond on the you
Sure.
had something?
Sure.
You said I refused to give her the papers, it was non-public information, was non-public minutes. They were sealed, it was not released. I'm not giving anyone non-public minutes, what are not released. Because then you will come back and then you will say, oh, could you give her non-public minutes, and those were sealed. I don't want to get into
All
that.
three of us were right there.
About refusing of papers, you said about a non-public. When I asked her about paperwork here the other day, what you have made, what I saw several of it, you were making all the sheets up, and it was a 91A1, I want to look at it. She refused to give that to me. Did you bring that up, Commissioner Babson? You're very one-sided. She
What?
refused to give
I
this
told you,
paper
no,
to
you
me.
weren't gonna get
What
mine.
she is
I told her you
doing,
weren't gonna
every
get
time I ask her for
I'm not
something.
one-sided, I said no.
Ev-
Okay, yeah, okay.
I have the floor now. Every time I ask for something, oh, you need to take a vote, she's going around. But you guys have several illegal meetings there. Everything what you ask our Commissioner Sorensen, you get it immediately. So you need to tell how it is.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that the board votes that no telephone records of any sort be given out to anybody on this board or any employee in the county without the majority vote of this board. That'll take care of it.
I don't know if it
I'll-
take care of it.
I'll second it
It's
for
something, it's
discussion.
subjected on the 91A. I don't know if you can do that. Because I see certain stuff are subjected, and if a taxpayer comes to ask for that information, they just get that information. But if I ask for that information as a commissioner, I don't get that.
The problem is, Commissioner, if you come to the board so that it's a board
Listen,
action.
a lot of things is public information.
Somebody's cell phone is
So
in.
what you are doing is you're denying me access to that information.
I guess it goes back to the other statement that
So
if you
her
know, wait a minute,
records.
I got the floor now. If you have an issue with a particular individual that you're suspecting something's happening that is inappropriate or is not legal, I would hope that you would come to the board and not act as a single commissioner. We act as a board here, not as an individual. And that's true,
Yeah, when it is convenient,
Comes
yeah,
to the
you
board.
access the board.
okay? Well, that's my point. All right, you got
Okay.
anything else to add to the work session?
Yes.
No, I got a motion on the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I had
And
something.
I second it.
Okay, I
Any
have,
further discussion on that motion?
yes, I have something to say. We're talking about the records, those are county records. It is a county cell phone, because you keep on saying personal cell phone. It's paid with county taxpayers' money.
Okay, any further comments on that motion? All those supporting the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, nay.
What is the motion?
You want to repeat the motion?
What is the motion? Yeah. And who made the motion?
Commissioner Babson
Commissioner
moved
Babson
made
that
the
no
motion.
telephone records be given out to anyone without a vote of the board. Commissioner Sorensen seconded.
The majority of the board, right?
Majority of the board.
Okay. We got 2 votes yes, 1 vote no. Motion passes. You got anything else to bring up?
I didn't even vote yet, so you tell what a vote is?
Yeah, we voted.
No, you just
You
make the
didn't vote.
You just make the motion, that's all you did.
I thought I voted yes.
I voted yes, and you voted?
And now I voted no. We
Okay,
didn't take
that's
a
what I
vote
thought.
before.
Okay.
We ought to start thinking about a safe policy.
Yes.
We brought it up, but we didn't decide what we were going to do. And then we had a call from Fairpoint, a letter from Mr. Spyglass, Steve
Yeah.
Fisher.
Yeah.
And I asked him to call back during this meeting, but we were busy because I don't understand it. And we need someone, the board should hear about it, and we were paying him to do this, and,
What's the, he didn't tell you what the problem was?
well,
or-
there, if you can figure it out, you explain it to me. He's gone over the contracts with Fairpoint and where changes could be made,
Yeah.
but it's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
Maybe we should give it to John and let him interpret it.
Well, why don't we do that?
Or else I was gonna have Steve call back and explain it to us in simple terms.
Okay. All right, you got anything else?
A safe policy.
The safe policy. Lynette, can you put together a proposal for a safe policy? You are responsible for the policies, the handbook and so forth. Would you try to put that together soon?
Yes,
Which would include an inventory, who opens it, they sign for it, and so on. Okay? You all done?
That's it for me.
Do you have anything for work session?
So I'm just reading this quick. This is a promotion of calling plan.
We'll have to,
Oh,
we'll
okay.
have to hold that over and
Okay,
get John.
yes, my question is, you made a statement, you said that settlements are going to be sealed and is under a different category. Can you tell me which RSA is saying that?
It doesn't have to be a policy
You
that's,
need to pull up the RSA, as you remember, that any claims taken by the board needs to be by the commissioner clerk. All action taken, all claims made by the county. So what you are doing now, you're going to seal settlements, and you said it belongs in a different category. I like to know, I like to see the RSA.
there's no
And who
RS.
said that it belongs and it needs to be sealed? Because what you are doing, you're denying access to a board member? Is that what you are doing?
No,
Because there should be access to the board, the county
I'm glad
records.
you're coming around, because we didn't have access to the non-public
You
minutes
always
for a
have,
long time.
you always have access.
Yeah.
You always
Not
have
true.
access. Anytime you wanna see it, I put it all out and we've been over it. You saw it all, I'm only keeping it. Every
Okay.
time you wanna see it, you had it. So, and where are the settlements now? So that means the
The
board have
settlements?
no access.
You know where they
Since I'm
are.
here for the few years, we had a lot of settlements and agreements, and like I said, all action taken needs to be by the clerk of the commissioner.
That's
And all
right.
claims. Okay, so where are those settlements? Where are all
Those
those
settlements
agreements?
are in my
And you locked that?
You asking a question? Are you all done?
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you. They're locked in my safe, in my locked cabinet, because when they were in another cabinet in our office, someone went in and took one out, photocopied it, and then put it back in again. And it wasn't me that did that.
And it wasn't me.
And so therefore, we put it in where we know where it is. If you have a question and you want to see something, I'll be glad to open it up. Once this process is set in the safe, then all three of us will have it, okay?
That is kind of a little strange. First we had, it was missing for so long, somebody took it, and now you know precisely, make a different statement, somebody make a photocopy. I just remember, I have from Primex, they send that agreement to me through email. I have
All I know that this person,
agreements what Primex give out. We are getting it by email. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
I haven't gotten anything
Since-
from
Well,
Primex
you,
lately.
you, well, you were not on the board.
the person that took it out
Everything-
photocopied it. Let me talk now, okay? The photocopied it, didn't photocopy in our office because they didn't want our secretaries to see that it was being photocopied. So they went into the sheriff's office, had it photocopied in there. Okay, that's all I know about it.
So
The
you
sheriff
have-
told me that.
Do you have the
Okay?
proof?
The
Yes.
sheriff told me that. I can get proof for that.
Okay,
Okay.
if you can get proof for that, that would be fine.
Anything else for work session?
What sheriff are you talking about? Are you
Previous.
talking about?
The Chris
Chris
Conley. Yep.
Okay. If you have proof for that, that would be great.
Anything else for work session?
No.
Since we're going to be going into non-public, I would ask that at this time, any public input? Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen, I would like to clarify the record that the non-public, and this is just so that people know that we do follow a vote of the majority of the board, the non-public minutes that I requested last week were a request from the attorney to fulfill her ability to do what we have hired her
Yeah.
to do.
That's
And
right.
the board, the majority of the board put me as the point person for the attorney. So me asking for those non-public minutes was, there should be no implications of any shady business going on.
That's
It was a
correct.
requirement that I needed to do to fulfill the attorney's request that I am the point person of as a vote by the majority of the board. Thank you.
And-
That's correct.
And
Thank you.
can you tell me when and where the vote was taken by the majority of the board?
Look in the
Right
minutes.
here at the meeting.
Look in the
It was-
minutes.
So it was taken in the public minutes?
Yes.
Yep.
And like I said, non-public minutes, if they are sealed, I'm not giving it out to anyone. It shouldn't be released.
You want to become the clerk now?
Yep. It shouldn't be released.
No? Okay.
If they want to give it out and they want to release it, that's fine. I'm not
They were,
releasing
they were
any.
trying to get the minutes that day from you. They requested them from you so that I could do what I was doing for the attorney.
Like I said to Attorney Bailey, anything she wants, I can copy
Thank
her and I gave it to her.
Thank you.
And I said, I want to have the days and I send it myself. I'm not giving anyone, any employee, any sealed, non-public information. If an attorney asks it, I send it myself to them. Because I don't want to hear over 2 weeks they're going to spin it and they're going to say, well, you give such and such 5 non-public minutes and it was sealed. So I don't want to be put in that position. If attorney wants something, if it is non-public minutes and it's sealed. All the other documents, it can go to you, that's fine.
Okay.
Only the sealed one, I will give it to them.
We're on public input. Anybody got any public input? I'm sorry that this happens to come up almost every single meeting that we have. But it is a constant issue. And we're trying to do things right. We're trying to be transparent. When an attorney asks for something and they're representing us, we need to give it to them. It's to our benefit that it goes to them. Seeing that there's no further public input, I will then ask that we go into non-public for personnel. I don't know, I guess it's regarding the jail, right? Okay,
So I see there are 2 non-public sessions, son.
right. There'll be-
One, it said Beth, all that?
And the second one.
Oh, okay.
And the second one deals with,
An issue I have.
who, what?
An issue I have.
Any issue you have?
I have.
Okay,
Issues?
personnel, I assume.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'll make a
So,
motion that we go
one-
into non-public with Bev Bolick. It's personnel. It's RSA 91A3, paragraph 2A. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Commissioner Kenney?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
So voted. We're now in non-public.
Okay.
Okay, we're back into public session. The items that we discussed in non-public were sealed appropriately, and that's where we stand. Is there any other business to come before
Nope.
our meeting? No? Okay, then I motion to adjourn.
Yep, so moved.
Motion made over here, seconded over there. All those in support of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So voted then.